Hello, I'm Ann Hughes, President of the Adrian Area Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Ask a Member. Also my pleasure to welcome Bill Chester, who is with 3DPT. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you for having us here. We appreciate it.
Oh, we're glad to.
Exciting to see what you're doing at the Chamber.
There's lots of great stuff and activity going on right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And actually it goes on 12 months a year.
It does, yeah. And I see you got something coming up at the Family Center.
We do.
And
Tech Expo coming up next
really
week.
exciting, especially in today's world. I know that we're looking into that a lot.
Good.
And making a move kind of that way, because I think that's the way the market's trended already, and we're just trying to catch up now.
We need to stop down and visit
We will be.
the expo next week then. So, but there's lots going on at 3DPT too.
Yes.
And we were just talking before we went on the air about how things got started with both you and Jessica. Just kind of give us a little historical perspective of 3DPT.
It was we're definitely people of faith. We believe God's had His hand on our company from day one, and so we feel at the end of the day it turned out perfect. I mean, His plan was better than ours, and so we originally set up where Jessica was going to be a partner with a gentleman who now is our partner, but Jonathan Parker, who runs our Tecumseh Clinic, and so. I'm, as an attorney, was going to help them to draft documents and help them put a business plan together. And then I would be stepping back out of that picture and continue to practice law. And then Jonathan, kind of midstream, got noticed that he had a non-compete that he had signed, and that it would be enforced. So, and that was with his former company. So Jonathan had to step out of the picture. Which at the time was kind of scary, because I'm thinking Jessica is a great therapist, and I know she's fully capable of doing this thing, but for her, she was, couldn't understand what's happening here. Why am I losing, my partner? So he had to step out and wait for that non-compete to expire, but that allowed me to have a role in the company. So I said, I'll do this thing with you, and I'll come into the office, and wherever you need me, I'll be. So obviously I'm behind the desk mostly, but at the beginning I went out and was helping her as a tech. So she trained me as a technician so I could help put patients through exercises and things of that nature. Well, it wasn't long before in Adrian we grew, very rapidly. By September, we opened in January 2009. By September, we had 3 full-time physical therapists and a PTA working in that one clinic. Yeah, and so just phenomenal. Just being blessed, and we knew it was a blessing because business doesn't open and start like that. And a lot of it had to do with the groundwork that was being done years before that. We didn't realize it was groundwork for this. I'll give you an example. Jessica wrote a whole new mission values for her former company, and wanted to see if they would implement it, and they decided that they wouldn't. But at the time, not realizing she was writing it for 3DPT.
It was already.
So for us, that was just another sign that God was saying, yes, go with this thing. I've been preparing you all along the way. The relationships that were developed. One of our strongest relationships is with Gary Gray. And so when I say that, everyone always thinks Gary Gray PT, the physical therapists, are physical therapy clinics, and that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the man. As you know, and I think the whole community knows, Gary sold his businesses several years ago.
Right.
And then that relationship kind of ended abruptly, and that's kind of what catapulted us to be here. Is that Jessica decided that she didn't want to continue to work for the company that now owns them, and so she, after a lot of thought and prayer, and decided it's time to step out. And it wasn't one day after her last day of work, so she gave her resignation, worked for a month, and thought she was coming home to be a stay-at-home mom. And she was told that this family center was looking to put a clinic in their site. And she totally was not into that. I'm going home, I'm gonna be a stay-at-home mom, but I'll think about it, I'll pray on it, I'll talk to people, I'll get wisdom, and so here we are today. But it's been a real neat experience to see how quickly it's grown. And now Jonathan is in the company. He is a partner with us.
And now you have a second location, right?
Oh, yeah. We opened up Tecumseh in September or November of 2009. So the same year we opened our first location, it did so well, it allowed us to open up the second location. Now the second location is a little bit different than our first. Our first was right inside the family center. So we have, people that are coming in there all the time, exercising. Jessica being part of working in the Adrian community and being, born and raised in Adrian, had a lot of relationship with the Adrian community doctors and those type of things. So when Adrian opened up, it kind of had a lot of things going for it to do really well, really fast. Tecumseh was not a market that any of our therapists had actually worked in. And so we just didn't have those relationships built. We weren't inside of an active building like the family center. And so Tecumseh has been kind of what your typical growth. And it's continued to grow year after year. And the best growth that we're having there has just been organic growth. What do you mean by that? Organic growth. It's growing as word of mouth. It's not us manipulating the market, putting out our own ads, sending out our propaganda on how whatever. So organic growth is going to be more authentic growth. And Jonathan is such an exceptional therapist, first of all, but a man too. That his patients, literally, they just love him. They love him, and he'll spend so much time with them. One of the things that we were founded on was that if we were going to do this, we wanted to be different than the corporate-driven healthcare that we've been seeing over the last several years. That was going to be my next question. What is it that sets 3D-PT apart from the competition in the county? Well, it used to be we had, everything was, you had Gary running his clinics. You do what you want to do, and you take care of people, and people are, not really looking at my books to see what we should be doing. We're going to do what we feel our heart is saying to do. And we saw that leaving the industry because of all the pressures and then corporations buying up, larger corporations buying up the smaller practices. And then corporation out in another state, maybe across the country, doesn't know the people here in Adrian. Well, these are our friends, these are our neighbors, these are our family members, these are, people we go to church with, kids go to school with their kids, So to us, we don't see them as just another patient, so we can check the mark off and say, did we meet our quota? We see that as a person. So we committed to doing one-on-one care, which means this, is that at each one of our visits, we are committed to making sure that their therapist, unless their therapist is gone that day or whatever, that their therapist is going to spend one-on-one time with them at each and every visit, and not just a quick 5-minute how to go today at the end, but legitimately spend 15, 20, 30 minutes. If you can spend the whole hour, spend the whole hour with them. And in order to do that, it meant that we had to, as the owners, set up an environment that didn't make them become paper pushers, which is what the corporate world has done. So if I have to, as a therapist, if I had to see 22 patients in a day, and I got to do notes on those patients, or we don't get paid, I can't spend a lot of time with them. And believe you me, every therapist out there wants to spend. They don't want to do paperwork. They want to spend time with them. That's why they're a therapist. Sure. So we set limits on how many patients a day we want to see our therapists have, and when we hit those limits, we bring in new therapists to add to the staff. And so that allows us to spend that one-on-one time, and that allows people like Jonathan and Tecumseh to really develop those relationships with people and have that organic growth. But in the same way in Adrian, it allows our therapists in Adrian to do the same thing. What kind of do you treat mostly? Injuries, surgeries, accidents? Yeah, it's a wide range of things. One of the really neat things is that all of our therapists we send to GIFT. It's an applied functional science training. It's 40 weeks long. It's put on by the Gray Institute, so it's one of Gary's companies. It's a $15,000 advanced education, above and beyond anything else. So this isn't like sending them out to a weekend course for $1,500. This is a very serious commitment in time and resources. And every one of our therapists have done this program. So With that, they understand, they get the understanding, and a lot of them already had the base, they had more than the base, they had a really good understanding because they've been working under Gary for years. All of our staff has worked directly with Gary before Gary came on staff with 3DPT.
Okay.
And so they get a great in-depth understanding of how that ankle is going to affect your shoulder.
Okay.
And they put you into positions when you, and have you, not positions like on a table, but walking in your gait, and watch when they tweak things out, which would maybe take a muscle out that you are using to compensate for another muscle that isn't doing its job. They know how to tweak that muscle out, so then it will show the muscle that is having the issues will be vulnerable, and it'll be obvious to them. So to have that understanding, it's more than just saying we use these big theraballs and we do some things, and so now we're very functional. We understand function. Understanding function is really different than doing some activities that are function based.
Okay.
So all of our therapists have that understanding, which allows us to do things from just sport enhancement programs that we do for our kids. We'll put together camps during the summer. We had a summer soccer camp. We brought in a former professional player from Denmark, another gentleman from Brazil, a gal that worked for the Canadian national team, another gentleman that coached the girls U20 youth national team. And we brought together some of the world's greatest minds, and all of them are trained through the GIFT program, so they're also very function-based. So these are the types of programs we like to give to our kids that we know that are usually reserved for professional athletes, movement-based stuff. But we treat back. Women's health is probably a huge one that a lot of women don't realize, for pelvic pain or urinary leakage. Those are the type of things, and men and women we treat. Obviously, any type of knee, shoulder, all your typical things that you would see. But we also do neurological issues. I think one thing is that people underestimate what therapy can do for them, and this includes some of the docs. I mean, they don't know they went to school to be a doctor. They know medicine, and they're very good at it. And there's a lot of things where we tell people, if you use terms like "it hurts when I," or "I would like to do this but I can't because," or those type of things. If you find yourself being limited in a way from doing something you want to do,
come and see you.
Therapy, especially if it's function-based, so we can get to the root of that problem.
So if somebody wants to come and see you because they can't do something how do they get a hold of you?
They can call either one of our clinics. In Adrian, it's 517-263-3378, and that's easy to remember because it's 263-3DPT.
Okay.
And then Tecumseh is 517-424-8100.
Okay.
And now in Michigan, a prescription is required from a doctor before you can access.
Okay, so they need to talk to their doctor and then make that phone call.
And we can guide them through that, even if they call us first. We can guide them through that. And they should also know that you have the right to choose where you go for therapy. So, your doctor will have some recommendations, and quite frankly, sometimes, a lot of times they're us.
It or not.
But if you want to come and see us at 3DPT, you just let your doctor know that, and they're not going to fight you on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Very good.
Great
Story.
You.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bill.
wonderful being here with you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.